What would you do if you discovered a stranger had been secretly living inside your home? Before you answer, hear this story. You wake to a creak, a soft thud above the living room, not the house settling. A deliberate sound. You freeze. Heart flips. The house goes quiet again. You tell yourself it's the pipes. You tell yourself anything but truth. You slip from bed, bare feet on cold floor. You move like a shadow. Hall light off, phone screen dim. You grip it like a lifeline. Each step is a countdown. Adrenaline sharpens the edges. This is where the ordinary fractures. You reach the ceiling hatch. Your hand trembles as you lift it. A cold draft greets you. Darkness folds into darkness. You hear scratching, not like animals, intentional, human. You drop the hatch with a sound like a gunshot. Silence returns, but it's charged. You step back. You could call the police. You could wake the house. You could do nothing. You choose to watch. From the doorway, you become small. You watch the shadow of the attic door. It moves as if someone shifts. Then a whisper of a laugh, low, close. You swallow. This is no trespasser. This is closer. This is inside your walls. You retreat. You lock the door behind you. Your mind begins cataloging threats, weapons, exits, hiding spots. Your hands are steady now. Fear turned precise. You will not be caught off guard. Not tonight. Level 2. You think about the house. Blueprints in your head, where the attic stairs fold, where the vents lead, where sound carries. You move room to room, quietly. You check the windows. They are latched. The back door clicks. You note the basement entrance, possible escape route. You listen for footsteps, nothing but the house's breath. You grab the flashlight from the drawer, small, bright, honest. You test the beam. It steals color from the dark. You consider calling someone. Who? Neighbors. Too far. Too loud. 911. Slow. Protocols. You want action now. You want to know. You take a breath. You head for the attic ladder. You climb 2 steps at a time. The ladder creaks under you, each groan a drumbeat. The hatch above you waits like a held breath. You place your hand on the latch. It's warm. That detail lands like a stone. Someone was recently there. You pull. The hatch opens. Light spills from the attic like a wound. You freeze. You listen to your own breathing. You step up. The sound of insulation sharpens. It's lived in, not for a night. A blanket stuffed between beams, a bottle, wrappers, a small pile of your mail, your bills, your name on an envelope. Something cold runs along your spine. They were studying you, watching you, knowing your patterns. Your mouth goes dry. You back away. You are on someone else's timeline now. This is no random intruder. This is calculated. This is patient. You close the hatch slowly. You sense eyes that are not yours. You whisper to the dark, "Who are you?" A pause. A voice replies, thin through the wood. Not a whisper, not a shout. It says, "I didn't mean to." Level 3. You pause at the voice. For a second, humanity complicates everything. You had imagined a monster. You hear a tremor in the words, a middle-aged crack, fear and apology mixed. You thread questions like a lifeline. Why my house? Silence. A faint sob. I needed a place. I was cold. It sounds like confession. It sounds like excuse. You wonder about your options. Call, confront, bargain. You decide to open the hatch again, slow, with intention. Light floods in. A face peers through. A man, hollow-cheeked, a beard unkempt, eyes ringed with exhaustion. He looks like someone who ran out of roads. You keep your voice level. Who are you? He blinks. He points at himself. Dan. You keep the flashlight steady. Every second is a negotiation. He flinches like someone trained to expect violence. I didn't want anyone to get hurt, he says. His hands are empty. You study them. No fresh cuts, no blood. You ask the questions that sound like accusations. How long? Weeks, he says. Why my house? He looks down. Your dog sleeps in the yard. You go for a run. You leave the back unlocked sometimes. I watched. I swore I wouldn't touch anything. I just needed a roof. You feel a swell of anger, but also a prickle of something harder. Pity. You are both furious and human. You think of your family photos, your tax returns, your toothbrush, all intimate things now glimpsed by a stranger. Your house vocabulary becomes trespass. You ask the question you can't unask. Have you been in my children's rooms? His eyes lock on yours. No, I never went that far. Relief crashes through you like a wave, but the line has been crossed. You realize you must make choices you never rehearsed. You close the hatch gently. You don't call the police yet. There are consequences you must weigh. Level 4. You sit on the edge of your bed. The house feels smaller now. You listen to the stillness. You imagine police arriving. You imagine Dan handcuffed. You imagine the neighbors asking questions. You imagine the paperwork. You imagine what a journal entry would look like, the cost of justice. You think about negotiation. You think about sanctuary. You weigh danger against mercy. You set rules. No contact, no surprises. You will control this. You make a plan. You call a friend under the pretense of being sick. You need a witness. You need distance. You place a chair beneath the attic hatch. You set your phone to record. You prepare a safe space in the garage. Blanket, thermos, a note. You write, "If you come down, stay seated. We will talk. No sudden moves." You tape it where he might see it. Hours pass like minutes. Then the hatch opens. Dan climbs down slowly. He is thinner in daylight. He smells of dust and old smoke. You show the recorded file to preserve truth. You keep your voice hard, but even. You offer water. He takes it with 2 shaking hands. You ask him to sit. He looks around like a man apologizing to strangers who once were family. You ask the hard questions. He answers honestly. He lost his job. His partner left. The shelter at the end of the road was full. He slept under porches. He ate from dumpsters. He watched your house because it looked safe. He tells you things you did not want to know. A human ledger of desperation. You feel violated. You feel responsible. You feel pointedly alive. You stand at a crossroads. You can call the police now. You can give him food and help him find a shelter. Neither feels clean. You pick a third path. You will set terms. A month. Then he must leave. You will give him resources. You will document everything. You will test trust. He nods like a man given a reprieve. His relief is sticky and raw. You tell him never to touch personal items. He promises. You make him sleep in the garage. A borderline act between kindness and control. It feels like a temporary truce. Level 5 days stretch like taut wire. You watch the house like an eye. You see small changes. Dan cleans a corner of his tarp. He brings in a bag of canned food. He patches the attic hatch from scratching. He leaves a folded note. Thank you. Trust grows in minor acts. You keep your side of the bargain. You call the shelter and get him an appointment. You find a local church program. You also change your locks. You install a motion sensor in the attic. You buy a small camera. You learn to sleep with one ear open. Sometimes at night you imagine him watching you again. Other nights you imagine him getting clean and steady. You watch how he moves when you're not looking. He avoids bedrooms. He doesn't touch photographs. He sweeps the porch. You see remorse in small rituals. Your neighbors start to notice him outside. Whispers slither. You are both exposed. You face the gossip. You explain nothing. The hot air of rumor grows. You decide to be public about the problem. You tell your closest friend the truth. You explain boundaries. You ask for help. They show up with boxes. They help you move things to storage. They help you set a timeline. You deliver a 2-week ultimatum. He hears it without flinching. He says nothing but, "I understand." You are left with that line, simple, empty, full. Level 6. The final day arrives like a storm. You pack the last of the garage boxes. You load the car with the furniture he can't keep. An aid worker is on the way to meet him. You wait with your phone. Your hand is steady. You watch Dan sit on a milk crate. He looks small and large at once. You admire him quietly. He has the dignity of someone leaving a borrowed bed. He surprises you. He shakes your hand like a man who once had a job. "Thank you," he says. "For what?" you ask. "For not calling the cops first? For seeing me as a person?" You feel a wash of complicated pride. You did something responsible. You did something risky. Help arrives. The aid worker is kind but brisk. They explain where he can go. They explain the paperwork. He signs. They hand him a voucher and a bus ticket. He folds the ticket like a promise. He looks at you. For a second, you both are only human. He steps toward the van. At the last second, he turns. He pulls a crumpled photograph from his pocket. It's a smiling woman and a small child. "I want to get back to them," he says. The van door closes. He waves. The van pulls away. You stand in the driveway. The house exhales. The attic hatch is a closed lid now. You feel the absence like a phantom. You go inside. The house looks the same, everything untouched and sharper. But you know the walls remember. You know the attic has a history now. You walk through each room like someone reclaiming territory. You rest on the sofa and let yourself shake. You are exhausted and awake. You realize how many small choices stitch this night together. You think of policy and compassion. You think of boundaries and how to keep them. Level 7. Weeks later, you get a text, a photo of Dan on a bus, smiling, a simple message. "Got in touch. Thank you." You breathe a long, grateful sigh. You don't tell the neighbors. You keep the relief private. You still check the attic sometimes. You keep the camera on. You keep the motion sensor set. You teach your children how to lock doors and trust instincts. You tell them stories about boundaries and kindness. You tell them that some people fall through systems. You tell them how you chose to catch someone instead of report him. You teach them the messy ledger of safety. At night, when the house is quiet again, you run your hand along the attic hatch. You remember the smell of dust. You remember the apology. You remember the eyes. The night changed you. It made you more vigilant. It made you more human. You learned that danger and mercy can live in the same room. You learned that a house is more than walls. It's a line in the sand. You learned how to stand on it. And when rain hits the roof, you listen differently. You listen for life, for footsteps, for laughter, for the small, ordinary sounds that mean the house is yours again. The attic was empty, but the memory never left. If you love suspense stories like this, subscribe to Beyond the Story. Your next story is already waiting.